Hello and welcome. In this video here, I was asked to set up a daily driver using Linux Mint XFCE and as well doing the Zorn OS Lite. So here we are on Linux Mint XFCE. And just a quick recap to start here, I'm going to open up the app menu, come down to System, go into System Information, and I just want to share what kind of device I'm currently using and to explain, or at least better explain, some of the choices I make moving forward. So the computer is a Lenovo 300E. It is an 81M9 model. I'm using the Linux Mint 22.3 XFCE. We have our kernel version. Processor, I'm using Intel Celeron N4120 with 4 cores. Graphics card, very simple of course, is Intel Corp Gemini Lake UHD Graphics 600. Memory is 8 gigabytes. And hard drive is actually an SSD, 128 gigs, desktop environment, XFCE. So we can go ahead and close here, and we'll kick it off, starting with the setup in the next video. In this video part here, before we begin actually installing some applications, I just want to share a few applications that do come pre-installed with Linux Mint XFCE. So therefore, you will not actually have to install these unless you want to find some alternatives, of course. So we're going to open up the app menu here, and right in the favorites tab already, we see that we have the Firefox web browser. So of course, that is our default browser. We can always install something else. We have Thunderbird Mail, which is an email client, and it does work with both Proton and MailFence. With Proton, you'll need the additional tool called Proton Bridge. And with MailFence, you just have to pay for the, I think, premium option, so that way you get the ability to connect to the email client. And we can go ahead and just jump through some of these here. So in accessories, we have things like calculator, calendar, document viewer, image viewer, sticky notes, screenshot tool, and even our text editor. In graphics, we have our document scanner, which is great when we're scanning documents to our local device here. In internet, of course, we see Firefox web browser. Matrix is going to be an alternative to something like Microsoft Teams or Google Meet / Google Chat. For multimedia, we have Celluloid. This is going to be great for video playback. And Rhythmbox we have for audio playback. Of course, you can always install something else like VLC. And then we have Simple Screen Recorder. Now that does not come pre-installed. I did install this tool so I could do things like these walkthroughs right here. In Office, we have Calendar again, a dictionary tool followed by LibreOffice, and we get LibreOffice Calc for spreadsheets, Draw for Publisher, so to create documents, Impress for presentations, and Writer for documents. And that's going to be it on the pre-installed list. Those are most of the applications that I actually use on a day-to-day basis. But we're going to go ahead and install some additional applications in the next video coming up. In this video part here, we're going to go ahead and start with installing some additional applications. These are just going to be some basic apps and tools that I actually use day to day. So we're going to go ahead and kick it open with the application menu here. We're in the favorites tab already in the menu, and we can select software manager. And while that's loading, go full screen. All right, and right here in the search bar, I'm going to go ahead and look for Ocular, which is just an alternative document viewing tool. And with this tool, especially with PDFs, we can highlight and annotate with their additional features that they have within Ocular. And we can install as a system package, which is 360 megabytes of disk space, as opposed to a flat pack, which is 3.8 gigabytes of disk space. So again, modest hardware. I'm going to go ahead and go with a system package, and you can just go ahead and click install, wait for that to launch and install on the device. However, you can also Control-Alt-T, open the terminal here, and we're going to go ahead and run sudo apt install Ocular. Type in our super secret password, hit enter, let it ride. Essentially, we're doing the same thing, so nothing too scary. Right here, it's just asking if we want to install the 360 megabyte application right here, which is what we saw here for Ocular. I'm going to go ahead and type Y for yes, enter, and let's go. And again, you don't have to do it this way with the terminal. You can just click install and let it run. I think things just run a little bit quicker from the terminal, personal, but you can do it either which way. And as you see, you get like a little downloading bar here, so we can see the progress. And we are complete. So I can just type in clear to clear everything off the screen. We can minimize this here. And the next item we're going to look for is PDF Arranger. And this is another great tool for, of course, PDFs. And if we have a multiple page PDF, we can actually rearrange and even remove pages. So right here, for system package download, we are 3.7 megabytes of disk space. And for a flat pack, we are 3.8 gigabytes. So we're going to go back to system package. This would be the one that I would install. Again, you can just pop open the terminal if you already have it open. Sudo apt install PDF Arranger. And let's go. Are we sure we want to install? Yep. And same thing, we can just wait for the installation. We get our little progress bar here at the bottom. And we are done. So clear. And next item for me is going to be a couple editors here. So we have a very simple code/text editor, if you will. It's going to be Genie. And I typically like to write some HTML, CSS, and play around with some JavaScript. And this is a perfect tool for me. You can always go with something else if you wish. However, 14 megabytes on the disk space for system package, so super lightweight. And again, just click install if you want to install, or from the terminal here, sudo apt install Genie. And yes. Awesome. We can go ahead and clear this. Minimize here. Next item for me is going to be OpenShot. Again, I would typically use something like Kdenlive as well. This is going to be for a video editor. However, for the OpenShot to Kdenlive, OpenShot's just a little bit lighter weight for the device that I'm currently using. And I'm just doing some quick trimming clips, adding both video and audio tracks. So this is perfect for me. And we should be able to open terminal as well. Sudo apt install OpenShot, and let's go. Oh, let's do OpenShot-qt. And we can see here 229 on the megabytes and roughly 228 megabyte disk space for a system package. Install yes. Now I know the reviews are sitting at about a 3 stars, roughly 2.7 to be exact. And we see our progress bar here. About halfway there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and clear. And again, another alternative, if you prefer not to use OpenShot, you can do Kdenlive. And right there you can see 4.2. And we also have a system package that we can install. So a little bit better or higher on the ratings. Neither here nor there for me. And one of the last items for me is going to be gpotter. And this is going to be an alternative tool to locate and listen to different podcasts. Now, it doesn't have everything on the market, but of course, so it may not be for you, but the few that I listen to, it does have. So I'm okay with that. So sudo apt install gpotter, go. All right, and we can go ahead and clear here. Minimize this. Clear that out. We can go back. And from here, we can come over to the menu, select Show Installed Applications, and we can locate the recent applications that we've installed. And go ahead and close this. That's it for this one. In this video part here, we're going to briefly demonstrate a few of the applications just to share and show with you that we now have a daily driver set up. So I'm going to go ahead and come down here, select the file manager, bring this in view a bit, select documents, select demo items, and I have some examples already laid out. So for LibreOffice, we can go ahead and open that example folder, and we have a simple document here. And we can see a couple pages. This will open in LibreOffice Writer. Next item we have is a very basic, and I mean very basic spreadsheet, but overall, you'll get the gist. We have rows and columns, headers, and we have our data, which we could, of course, add additional items and even sort through those items as well. We're going to go ahead and close that. Back to demo items. Next folder is Ocular Examples. This should have been PDF examples, but either way, if we double click this document here, this will open in our document viewer, which is the default tool that came pre-installed. We can right click and open with Ocular, which is also a document viewer. However, we can use the additional tools like the highlighter here. And of course, we can save that or discard. And we can right click, open with PDF Arranger. And since we have a multi-page document, we can rearrange this PDF in whatever order and even delete by selecting delete. Let's go ahead and discard that. Let's go back to demonstration items. Next folder we can go ahead and jump into is audio examples. So we can right click, open with Rhythmbox, and we have our audio playback tool. Go ahead and close that, and we'll close it out here as well. Go ahead and go back to demonstration items. We can go into video example, and this is just a video clip that I made of some free Linux games that I like to play. So SuperTux Kart, SuperTux, Legend of Edgar. We can go ahead and close those out. And back to demo items. Next one, let's go into code editor. So we can open our HTML files by going into right click, open with Genie. And from here, we see that we can read and write in HTML syntax, as well as CSS and JavaScript. Go ahead and close that out here. If we want to view our project, I can just double click here. This will open in the web, and I'm just building a mock-up video player site, if you will, just for fun, just for learning purposes. And we can select into any one of these categories and select on any one of these thumbnails to view our video. So here is a terminal site that I built, which is just a very basic terminal portfolio that I created. And we can go ahead and close out of that. Go back to demonstration items. And last but not least, in these example folders, we have video editor examples. So I'm going to minimize here, open shot, and we're going to go ahead and enter. Once that loads, what we need to do next is import some of our assets, if you will. So we're going to bring in the intro slide, outro slide, we'll do part 2, and soundtrack. And we'll minimize this again. And of course, we can just start adding to our tracks here. And we're going to grab we're going to actually zoom out a bit, hit play. And so right about here is where I want to splice. So what we'll do is also add our audio track, which we'll do right here. And we'll split right about here. Delete that section. Drag this over a bit. Zoom back out. Add our outro piece. And let's go ahead and split this audio track right about here. We can delete this. And then last but not least, we're going to go ahead and adjust the volume for this entire clip here. Give that about 10%. And this first clip here, about 10% as well. And the main piece we'll go ahead and do 100% is fine. And very simple video editor, here we go. And let me pause that, resize this a bit. And of course, we can save these projects by doing so. However, back out. No, I do not want to save. And last but not least, let's go ahead and open gPotter, which is going to be where I locate and listen to some of the podcasts that I like. So instead of running through Welcome to gPotter, how would you like to connect your podcast basically? Close out of this, come to subscriptions, and then we're going to do Discover New Podcast. So getting started, they give you a short little list here that you can always add. You can go to the top 50 and review and add any one of these as well. Or come to gPotter search and you can look for something like The WAN Show, which is the podcast for Linus Tech Tips. And right here for the RSS feed, and then add. That'll download their shows. And then from here, we can select this most recent podcast here. Right click, download, and give it just a minute. We're roughly at about 70-ish%, and it looks like it's done. So now we can right click, open download folder, and we see it's in the gPotter downloads, and we see the WAN Show. So I can right click here and open with Rhythmbox. And now we can listen to our podcast directly from our device here. Go ahead and pause that, close out, and close here. That's it for this one. In this video part here, we're going to go ahead and start with actually customizing our setup and making it our own way. So I'm going to start with the background here. Right click, desktop settings, and we have 3 categories here. So background, menus, and icons. I'm going to start with backgrounds, and we have some default options that we can choose from. However, I do have a very basic picture that I was just going to add for the background here. And for menu, we have this first item enabled. So it says enable delete option in file context menu. So if we have icons here on the desktop background and we right click, we'll actually have the delete option appear in this menu here. Under window list menu, we have show window list menu on desktop middle click. So if I middle click on the mouse, then we see show application icons in menu. So we have the application icons here. Then we have show workspace names in list. So we have workspace 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the final one here, show add and remove workspaces option and list. And we have add or remove workspace. So I'm good with that. I'm just going to click out. For icons, we have icon type, file/launcher icons. For icon size, we have 48. For the default orientation, icons will start in this top left corner and work their way down. Additionally, we have the font size set to 9, tooltip size set to 48, and show thumbnails. So we're going to go ahead and add home folder and trash so we can see the icon size here. And I'm going to increase that just a bit. 52 works for me. And the name size, we're going to go to 10. And the tooltip here, so if we actually hover over, we'll get that tooltip. So I'm good with that size. I'm good here. We're going to close. Then I'm going to go ahead and rearrange this, bring this down to the bottom corner here. Go into the app menu. And we're going to add some items to the desktop. So we're going to come to Internet, right click, add to desktop. I'm also going to add gPotter. Go to development, add Genie. And we're going to add Ocular. I won't need multimedia tool. Let's do simple screen recorder. We'll add that one to the desktop, and we'll even add OpenShot. So let's go ahead and move this over just a bit. Browser, gPotter. Let's move this down. We'll do our editors in a row here, if you will. Actually, you know what? We'll do OpenShot first. Genie, screenshot tool, and we have our home folder. Now we can do the panel here. So we're going to come down to the bottom, right click, panel, panel preferences, and same thing, 3 categories here. So display, appearance, and items. We're in the option of panel 1. So we have the mode set to horizontal. I'm good with that. It's locked in place. I'm also good with that. You can automatically hide the panel. I have it set to never, but you can do always or intelligently. Row size is set to 32. We're going to go to 35. We have 1 row. We're going to go to appearance. I'm going to flip this into dark mode. For the background style, we have that set to none because we have our background set. Adjust size automatically for icons. I'm going to leave that disabled. I'd prefer to have the fixed icon size of 20 because it will just make these look a little bit cleaner inside the panel here. And last but not least, we have the items. So here is how we can actually rearrange and either add or remove additional items to our panel. But we will come back to this momentarily. So I'm going to go and close out of this here. And we're going to come back down. I'm going to right click on this one, which is show desktop, and I'm going to remove. I don't really use that tool. And as well, since I have the browser here, I'm going to go ahead and right click, remove. We're going to come back down to the application menu, and I'm going to come into system. I want to add disk usage to the panel. I'm going to add task manager to the panel and software manager to the panel as well. And we can see here, they're not over here. They've actually been added to the very end. So we're going to right click on that panel, panel preferences, go back to items. We can see we have those 3 launchers here at the back. So 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to grab that, bring that back up. And then we can reorganize however we wish once we get them all up here. One more. All right. So for me, oh, apparently I did add the browser back. So let's go ahead and remove that. Actually, you know what? I'll show you how we can do it from here. So we have our disk usage, and then we have Mozilla. So we're going to go ahead and remove this one here. And let's go ahead and close this for just a moment. Come back to the app menu. And what I wanted to add was Task Manager. So I'm going to add that to the panel. There we go. Right click, panel, preferences, back into items, grab that last launcher and bring it back up here. All right, so for me, I'd prefer to have the terminal first, followed by the file manager. And then I'd prefer to have software manager, task manager, and the disk usage tool. So now we have our whisker menu, which is the application menu here, followed by our separator, which is this line here. Then these launchers, which is terminal, file manager, software manager, task manager, and disk usage analyzer. I'm also going to add one additional item here, separator. It's going to put that to the end. I'm just going to put that right here after the last launcher. Close this. So now we have our launchers right here, followed by our Windows button. So we have the applications that are currently open. Moving over, this is the simple screen recorder. So this is just showing that I have the tool opened and active. So that will go away once I close. Followed by Bluetooth, our notifications, then our status. So right here, it's called the XApp Status plugin. And we get the reports, update manager, followed by network, and then our power manager and audio manager here. And then finally our clock and date and time. So we can close this, and that's going to be it for the customized desktop. In this video part here, I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick customize of the menu. Now I should have done this in the last video part, but neither here nor there. So when we select the application menu, we have our favorites tab, and I just want to change this up a bit. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and remove pics, and we're going to remove from favorites. I want to remove software manager, task manager, Thunderbird I'm fine with, Rhythmbox I won't really need that there either, calculator I'm okay with. However, let's go ahead and come down to Office Tools. I want to add LibreOffice to the favorites. And then come back down to Office. I want to add Ocular. And I also want to add the PDF Arranger. So now I have my browser, email client, our calculator tool, LibreOffice, Ocular, and PDF Arranger. One more item here I could add would be our screenshot tool. So I'll right click here, add to favorites, and come back. Let's add this just below our calculator. We'll put calculator first. There we go. So now I have my screenshot tool here as well. And that's our menu, now edited our way. That's it for this one. In this last video part here, we're going to go ahead and finalize things by customizing our web browser setup. So I'm going to open Firefox, and we're going to go ahead and start with bookmarking some of our web apps, if you will. So we're going to do proton.me/mail, and we're going to go ahead and bookmark Proton Mail. Next, I'm going to add MailFence, and these are the two email service alternatives that I currently use. MailFence. Next, we'll add lumo.proton.me, and this is Proton's generative chat AI. And we'll do maybe later. And we'll do Lumo, Proton, save that. Last but not least, we're going to do duck.ai. And this is DuckDuckGo's generative chat AI. Save that, Duck. Let's actually do it like this, Duck AI. And now we have Proton Mail, MailFence, Lumo, and Duck AI. So we'll close that tab. Next, we'll go ahead and customize the toolbar. So I'm going to remove the extensions tab. I won't really need that, so remove. And I'm also going to remove the profiles tab. And then we're going to go ahead and right click, customize toolbar. And I would like to add history. So we're going to go ahead and add that one, right click and select. Settings as well, right click and select. And then for overflow, I want to add the zoom controls. So now I have history, settings, and zoom controls here. We can select into the menu if we want to get to settings, or of course, select settings. And we're going to work through the general, home, search, privacy, and security tabs. So in general, under startup, nothing to select here. So I'm not going to open previous windows and tabs when we open Firefox. I'm going to have that set to a blank page. For import browser data, I have nothing to import. Profile, I do not want to configure or set up a profile. Tabs, we want to open links in tabs instead of new windows. I'm good with that. For interaction, we currently have show an image preview when you hover over the tab. I'm good with that. Use AI to suggest tabs and names. Disable that. For closing, I want it to ask before closing multiple tabs. And I'm going to go ahead and disable ask before quitting with Control Q. I won't do that. Browser layout, horizontal tabs, I'm good with that. For appearance, we could of course change this from the light version, if you will, to dark. However, for the sake of this video, I'm just going to go ahead and leave light as the option, or automatic, if you will. We can jump into home. From here, we're going to go ahead and change the homepage in new windows. So instead of Firefox home default, I'm going to go to blank page. For new tabs, blank page. And then from here, we can configure the content that shows. So web search, I'm fine with. Weather, no thanks. Shortcuts, no thanks. Recommended stories, no thanks. Support Firefox, no thanks. And remove recent activity. Next, we have search. For default search engine, I'm going to go ahead and select this, move over to DuckDuckGo, and search engine suggestions. Disable. And then same here for Firefox suggest. I don't need them to suggest. I think I know where I'm going if I'm going to start searching around. So I'm going to disable most everything here. So shortcuts, recent searches, quick actions, nothing from sponsors, nothing from Firefox. That's it here. For privacy and security, we have the default selection of standard. We see the breakdown here. So blocks social media trackers, cross-site cookies, tracking content in private windows, crypto miners, and fingerprinters. I'm solid with that. We can even enable tell websites not to sell or share my data. That's fine with me. Delete cookies and site data when Firefox is closed. I'm also solid with that. Ask to save passwords. Well, I'm going to go ahead and disable this. And we don't want it to save passwords. Save and autofill payment info. No thanks. Save addresses. No thanks. And from here, remember browsing and download history. Remember search and form history. No and no. So clear history when Firefox closes. And I want it to clear everything here. That's perfect with me. And moving along here, these default options are fine. And these default options for security are also fine. So blocking dangerous downloads and warn us about unwanted or uncommon software. And that's going to be it for the setup for me. So if we close out and come back in, history, and we should have no history. And as we can see, we have a blank page and just our search bar followed by bookmarks. Close that And that's it for this one. That's it for the video.